Welcome to Tuesday's Tips from Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura. And do you wish there was an easy way or a trick to turn long, thin tubes right side out? Well, there is. The first thing we need to do is sew the tube together. So you're going to take your long, thin piece, match up the right sides, and stitch down. So we have the long tube sewn together. One end is closed. And somehow we need to put a stick in here or something to turn that right side out. Well, we're still going to use a stick, but we're going to use something to help that little stick go through. The first thing you need to do is clip off the ends and trim so that the top seam allowance is quite small. You don't want to go into the stitching, you just want to clean up all of the extra fabric. Then there's a product out there that has the sticks that we need, but they also come with things that look like unusual straws. And those unusual size straws is what's going to make this a whole lot easier to turn. Turn It All comes with 3 different size tubes. So each tube is going to go to a different size fabric. So you're going to be able to do many, many different size tubes, even some really long, thin ones. So you're going to find this straw or this tube that's going to go inside the tube that you made and just slide it all the way up to the top. And it's going to go right towards the end. You then are going to be able to take the wooden dowel that fits within the tube. So if you have a thick one, you're going to use the thicker tube. If you have the thin one, you're going to use the little metal tube. So this is the medium size one. I find I use this one a lot. And once you have that tube or that straw in there, you're going to be able to take the wooden dowel and push it into the end. And as you push, the wooden dowel is going to push that fabric inside the tube. And as long as you don't hold that fabric tight, because if you hold the fabric tight, this is not going to be able to push through that tube. Just let it go, and you will feel that that fabric's going to move up as that wood pushes it through. If you feel that you're holding too tight, you can just take the fabric and push it up a little bit, hold on to the end, and then push. And that way you're not holding that fabric too tight. And you can just push that in. And when it gets to a certain point, you're just going to be able to pull that all the way through. And you've turned that all right side. And that straw or that tube is going to come out. Now you have that wooden stick still inside there, which is perfect because you can use that to poke out the ends. And then that wooden straw will come right out the end. If you have both of the ends finished, you will have an opening right in the center. You're going to be able to take that tube and put it through right to the end. You can put this right on a counter and take that stick and stick it through as you're pulling up the fabric. If you find that's easier, that is another way. You're pushing the fabric up as you're pushing the pole down. If you have an end that is not sewn, you can still do this. You're going to leave yourself a little bit of a flap and fold that flap so that you're able to take the flap and stick it inside. And then as you push, that's just going to push it all the way through. The blue one will work good for a strip at 2 inches if you use a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And the white one, well, you can go even larger. You can always test the size by folding the fabric, putting a pin, taking it out, and you'll see exactly what your seam allowance is going to need. And when you do the really small tubes, it's very important to keep the seam allowance very, very small because it's going to take up a lot of space inside the tube. So we have different sizes for different projects. So if you do a lot of tube turning, the Turn-It-All tube turner could turn your tube turning a whole lot easier. Thank you for joining me today on Tuesday's Tips. Feel free to subscribe, and as always, come on back. Let's see what we're sewing next time in the sewing room. Bye for now.